Okay, this is my audience, and I'm just using this note card. Memorize most of the speech anyway. Alright, today I'll be talking about whether buying organic food is worth it. Personally, to me, as a person who has had autoimmune disorders, been on multiple medications, and has been on many diets throughout my life, personally, I do not think buying organic food is worth it. And let me tell you why. Organic food is just regular food that doesn't use pesticides and is more nutrition or has more nutritional value, or is seen that way. Is often priced at a higher cost, often more than 50% of what a regular food would be priced. And as a person who is a college student, that is not always feasible. And as just a regular American, again, is not always feasible, especially with inflation in this economy. With that being said, there's also a problem with soil pollution and using up land. Because when producing organic foods and making organic foods, not using pesticides causes twice as much land usage as a normal food would produce. Again, causing the cost to go up. And when you are buying the organic food, you are paying partially for the land usage. With that being said, it can also harm the soil's health, habitat health, and other things, which I will get into later. Finally, it is causing further fuel emissions because organic takes longer to ship, it takes longer to package, takes more packaging to keep fresh, and goes bad quickly because there are not pesticides used. I'm not advocating for pesticides being used, but I am also not discrediting the use of pesticides. Because in some cases they are very helpful, especially with vegetables and fruits that go bad very quickly, or when you live in a state such as North Dakota where we can't immediately get things shipped to us quickly and efficiently. Especially with our weather, we cannot produce what other states can produce. And as I previously stated, the cost of food has gone up drastically. Food banks and as SNAP is being revamped as we speak, people are hurting in the cost of food in general, so buying organic is not always feasible. And organic, the amount produced needs to be the amount bought, otherwise food just goes to waste. And that is how food shelters get the food they have in the first place. So back to my first point of land usage. When having organic food, land usage is used up more than over 50%, and you are missing out on doubling your not only your profits, but the usage of land. You could use it for farmland, you could use it for buying other produce, and because organic is so specific in vegetables or fruits, it is harming the soil and harming habitats because the land usage, it doesn't allow habitats to grow. It takes the nutrients out of the soil but doesn't replace it as pesticides would, because pesticides, the ground knows how to deal with the pesticides, or the dirt knows how to deal with it. Therefore, it can still reproduce and they rotate the crops. But when producing one specific crop organically, it's harder to rotate. Therefore, they don't, and it ruins the soil completely, ripping away the nutrients. My second point as well is it's harmful for fuel emissions, the CO2 emissions, more oil usage, which is one of our natural resources, which we are already scarce on. Not all people can produce that. You're paying for the oil usage, and with our unpredictable economy, as 2020 and beyond has hit, and we've had unpredictable oil sources, using that oil to have organic food is not always the best solution, especially when there are starving people in the world. There are starving people in this country. They would prefer just regular food. Some people do advocate that organic food tastes better. Actually, 82 or 55% of consumers argue that the look and taste of organic food is different than the regular food and tastes much better. Which is this necessarily true? As a person who has tried organic food, I disagree. I think it tastes the same. Sometimes it can be more fresh, but depends on what day you get it on. And then 82% of Americans buy organic food, and it's honestly, it is seen as a peer pressure thing of people believing that they must do this in order to be healthy, but it is not. As a person who works in the prison, or works in a prison, I have seen all the prisoners consume the same meal for weeks in a row. And some of them are very healthy, some of them are not, but they're all eating the same food. So is organic really worth it? And that is what we're debating here, because you can eat the same food as someone else and metabolize it differently or have different needs. So yes, some people need to eat organically and they can budget for that and they can advocate for that. But do we all need to eat organically, especially when it causes these losses and this detrimental to our planet, these detriments? No, I personally do not believe. And plus, the economy is in a harmful state right now, and the unpredictability of even our food sources or our land or even just the economy is not useful right now, and it's not predictable and sustainable. So personally, I do not believe in organic food being bought, and that it is really worth it. And if you do believe that it is going to break the bank, you don't have to buy all organic food. You can buy some and try it out if you want better tasting fruits and vegetables only, but you don't have to buy everything organic. So there are things in moderation, but just keep these things in mind and be aware of these things that, I mean, although organic seems healthier, sometimes it isn't.